Hey guys, Violet here. In this episode I'm going to show you about 2 different variations of how to make a red velvet cake. I'm going to show you how to make red velvet cake and then also a marbled red velvet cake. So what you're going to need to do, the very first thing, is preheat your oven to 350 degrees. And then you're going to want to grease your pans. I'm using these round pans. You're going to want to grease them. I used Baker's Joy, that way it's got the flour built in. But you'll spray them, grease them however you want. And then you're going to want to flour them, that way the cake comes out easily. And like I said, I use the Baker's Joy, that way I don't have to worry about flouring since the flour is already pre-done. So we want to get these done, that way we don't have to waste time later on. Our next step is going to be using our shortening, which I have pre-cut. We're going to put that into our mixer and we're going to mix our sugar with that. I recommend having all of your ingredients already measured out, that way it's easier to mix your things and you don't have to worry about trying to find a certain ingredient so that everything can be mixed well accordingly. So now we're going to head over to the stand mixer so we can mix together our shortening and our sugar. Okay, so in our stand mixer I've got our shortening and our sugar, and we're going to mix this well until all the ingredients are combined. Okay, our shortening and our sugar has become combined, and it's going to be kind of sandy, but it's going to be, mixed well together. Our next step is going to be adding in our 2 eggs, and we're going to do them one at a time. You can either do it with the machine on, or you can turn it off each time you want to add in an egg. Just make sure that each egg has been mixed well. Alright, now our ingredients are mixed well, but I'm going to scrape down the sides and the paddle to make sure that all the ingredients are mixed well, since I noticed some of the mixture is not thoroughly mixed. Okay, so I'm going to mix it one more time on medium for just a few seconds. Okay, now that's going to lead to our next step. As I was telling you guys before, there's going to be different variations I'm going to make these cakes. So I'm only going to make one cake, but the easiest way is to have your cocoa powder, which I've already sifted, and you're going to make a paste with red food coloring. Just about 2 tablespoons. You'll mix it into the cocoa and then you'll stir it. After you're done making that paste, we'll put that into the mixer, the sugar mixture that we just made, and that's one way to do it. But the way I'm going to do it, I'm going to save the food coloring for last. So make your paste mixture, if that's the way you want to do it. Just have one fully red cake. Or you can save the red food coloring until last and you can make a marbled cake. It'll be a little different, but it's going to taste the exact same. So now we're going to use the rest of the ingredients that we're supposed to mix together over at the stand mixer. Now we're at the point where we would add in the cocoa powder paste, which is the cocoa powder and the red food coloring. If you want your cake to be fully red, I'm going to wait off from the food coloring like I had said previously, and I'm going to add that at the end. So I'm just going to be adding in my cocoa powder, but you would be adding in a paste if you wanted to do it that way. So we'll mix this until it's well combined. We want to mix it on medium. I'm also going to scrape down the sides of the bowl and mix it again. Okay, so now mine looks brown because I didn't add in the food coloring. If you have the food coloring paste with the cocoa, then you're going to have a deep red color at this stage. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add in our milk mixture, and that was the buttermilk, the salt, and the vanilla. And we're going to alternate that with our flour that has been sifted. So we're going to mix this on medium, and we'll probably do like a third and a third, like we've done in previous episodes. Okay, now I'm going to wipe down the sides, scrape down the sides, and then we'll mix it again. This way all the ingredients are well combined. Okay, so this is going to be it for the stand mixer. We're going to add in the last two ingredients, but you've got to be very careful with that, and you don't want to mix them, you're going to want to fold those in. Okay, so this is what mine looks like. It's a light brown color because, again, I'm going to be doing a marbled red velvet cake. If you did the paste with the cocoa where you put in the red food coloring with the cocoa and made that paste and added it in when I had told you to, then this would be about the same color of this spoon or maybe a little darker depending on how much red food coloring. If you want it to be darker, you can add more food coloring, but our next step is going to be very important that you do it in a specific way. So you've got baking soda and vinegar. When you combine these two together, it's going to cause a reaction. It's going to be very fuzzy, bubbly, and it's going to foam up. So we're not going to want to stir it. You're not going to want it to be mean, I guess you could say, to your batter. You want to be very gentle. And you're going to fold it in, just very gently. And you're going to put them into your pans as quickly as possible so we can get them into the oven. This is one of the reasons why you want to have everything mixed, or not mixed, but have everything in there separate, measured out like how they're supposed to be. So here's my baking soda, here's my vinegar. So I'm going to add these together real quick, and it's fuzzing up. Just going to do a light stir and put that into my batter. Okay. And then I'm going to just gently fold. You don't want to do too much because that's going to cause the bubbles not to be too bubbly. Okay? Okay, it looks like everything is stirred in. So now I'm just going to separate them between the two pans. Okay, now at this point, if you had done the red paste, you would put them into the oven. And of course you guys have seen my other video, so you know that you're supposed to make sure it doesn't pool in the center. So you would just spread it from the center to the sides because the center is going to pool up. And we want to make sure that these are even. Okay, now I'm going to do a little differently. I'm going to make a marbled cake, if you remember. So I have to get all this batter in. We're going to take the red food coloring and just put them in spots. Okay, and then you're going to use like a spoon or something, and then you're just going to kind of go back and forth. You do not want to stir this. If you do, it's not going to come out right. Now we're going to put this in the oven for about half an hour or until your toothpick comes out clean. Okay guys, so my cake is done. This is what my marbled effect looks like. If you did not do the marble effect, it's going to look more like this color over here. All the red spots. It might be darker, it might be lighter, depending on the amount of food coloring that you used. To make sure that your cake is done, I suggest using a toothpick method. And that's where you take your toothpick and you stick it into the cake, and when you pull it out, it should be clean. After my cake has thoroughly cooled, you'll have the two different colors depending on if you did the marbling effect like this or if you did the all red coloring. Also, if you happen to be allergic to red dye, you can omit the red dye completely, or you can do a different color if that's what you want, because basically it's just the chocolate cake. When you add a little bit of other flavorings like the vinegar and the baking soda mix with the buttermilk will give it a tangy flavor. So what I'm going to do to ice it is my cream cheese frosting. So similar to the other cakes, we're just going to put a little bit in the middle. Okay, once you get the amount that you want on in the center, you're going to want to draw away from the center. That way it doesn't pool into the center, because then your cake will fall apart. And make sure that your cake is thoroughly cooled before frosting so that your frosting does not melt. So I'm going to use about that much. Then we'll place the other one on top, and then we'll continue frosting. Okay guys, well that about does it for my cake. I'm going to clean it up a little bit and be able to present it later. Just a thought, if you guys put this into the refrigerator, that's going to cool the frosting even more, if you have enough time of course. And what you can do is, if you have any leftover frosting like I have, after it's been in the refrigerator for a few hours, you can take the remaining icing and try doing a little bit more if you want it to have a thicker icing. If you don't want to spend too much time cleaning up whatever item you put it on, my silver thing for this case would be to put some wax paper or parchment paper or more foil, whatever you want. You cut like about 4 of them, strips about that big, and you'll put them on your plate or whatever, and then you'll put your cake on top of that. That way when you're done icing, you just pull those away and then you can throw it away. So make sure that you put your icing, anything that you have left over in your refrigerator. Keep your cake in the refrigerator too, since it's got a dairy-based frosting. And that about does it for today's show. Hope you guys like it. Please let me know. Leave a comment in the section below. Remember to hit subscribe, like this video, all that stuff that I always tell you guys. So leave a comment in the section below with a recipe that you'd like to see featured in the upcoming weeks. And I guess that's about it. Thanks guys for watching. See you next time.